Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of Sikkim365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go, this 3 o'clock hour. Robert Griffin III and his mother, Jacqueline, will join us in the 4 o'clock hour. Mother's Day, and Jacqueline will join us by Zoom, RG3 by phone. We'll have that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Grayson normally with us Fridays at this time, but he is busy. And he's on that wedding tour. That at his age, that happens quite a bit. So Brian Ethridge is with us to talk about what his ear to the ground when it comes to women's basketball, with Nicki Collen, the new coach, and also trying to get her staff together and also, as she even mentioned, recruit her own roster. Brian, thanks for your time. So in your opinion, we know that Gusters is LSU. That's a given. That would happen a couple, 3 or 4 days ago. Right now, based on everything else you've heard, where do you think they stand with those that are actually officially a part of the Baylor basketball team?
Well, thanks for having me on, calling me Grayson there, David. But for the intro, I got to come in after your rant before RG3, so it's been coming in on this one. But right now, everything's pointing to everybody staying. That's the good thing about it. There could be one other player that leaves, and that would just be a personal decision moving on into her career. So we're just waiting for that. But right now, we're getting really positive vibes out of the team, around the team of that the rest of the team should be staying.
NaLyssa Smith staying is huge. Is that why if you were on the team with NaLyssa Smith, the Big 12 Player of the Year, it'd be tough to leave to me if she were going to stay, Brian?
I agree. I mean, that's the one thing. She is the centerpiece of this team. You're bringing her, she stays, she's going to learn from, Coach Collen, and you're going to see her offensive game expand even further. I mean, she would step out and shoot a 3 every once in a while, but it just never looked natural in the offense. And the offense that we're going to be seeing with, Coach Collen, you're going to run a lot of elevators. You're going to run a lot of screens to free up the 3-point shooters. It's similar to what, Golden State runs, what Stanford runs. So you're going to see that open up the floor for someone with her mobility and athleticism to get free. I mean, it's going to help Queen Egbo as well, because you're not going to have people collapsing on her the entire time. And she's a great athlete. Egbo can jump out of the gym. So that's going to be something, we're not used to seeing. We're used to seeing the pounded inside, and takes a 3 if you're wide open. You're going to see a little bit more of, setting up the 3-point ball in the mid-range game as well. So, I mean, every player that's on the team right now could benefit from the offensive staying and getting that exposure of what, the WNBA brings on the offensive end.
Brian Ethridge with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I know it's kind of a time where they cannot, the staff, whoever's a part of it, of course, with Nicki as well, that they cannot contact anybody that has not already been signed or committed as far as a part of the class of 2022 and beyond. Is that bad timing, or is that actually give her a chance to kind of decompress, work on what she's doing now and recruiting her own roster, and also trying to see who's going to be a part of her staff moving forward?
I think it was a good time. I mean, that's the one thing about it. You come in, no one can poach your players during that time. If it had been a bad hire or somebody that everyone hated, this is, somebody like a Jeff Walsh. Let's just go out and say it, on Paul's don't hire list. The guy, no one at Baylor likes that guy. No Baylor fan likes that guy. He's hard on his players. He's, the type of defense he plays there at Louisville. If that guy would have come in, I think you just seen a lot of players leave. And I don't think he was even on the list of people contacted, but that's not the kind of ball you want to see played at Baylor, or the kind of ball that players want to see. So you could have seen a lot of players go out there. With Collen coming in with their WNBA experience, I think that in having the time where no one can contact her team, it's allowed them to settle down. She can meet with them one-on-one, go over everything, what she sees for them in the future, and then they can make their decisions that time.
Yeah, I guess the benefit would be that nobody can call players on her roster either. So since she
Correct.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to.
And that gives her a buffer area,
yeah,
too.
exactly. So she doesn't. Yeah. She can recruit her own team without fear of somebody else calling and going, "Hey, Kim's gone. What do you say?"
Exactly, and that's the one thing right now. You can't contact the 23s yet either. That's not till September. They can go out. We'll be at a AAU tournament on the 15th to watch. Some of the 22s and 23s. Get some interviews with them, find out what they think. We've been talking to AAU coaches, some recruits in that range all the way out to 2025. What they think about the hire. And they're all sort of going to wait and see until she can contact them. I mean, the one thing is you're not going to see anybody just flock to her immediately because it is sort of an unknown of what she's going to do until she puts it on the floor.
Yeah, and that's the case. And now they do have the young lady that's committed down at Wagner High School. And my question is, she wants to watch and see how things unfold. Now that Coach, that she's here, Coach Collen is here, she can't contact her, vice versa, but that's not for another couple of years with her, right? So what do you think might happen with that, with what you think Nicki Collen brings to the table?
I mean, Samuel Wagner did decommit, so she's going to, she opened it back up. Baylor is still in her top list. She can call Coach Collen after the 9th. So she can make the contact after that point, but Collen cannot call her directly. So I expect her family to reach out to Baylor when she's able to, up on the 10th or the 11th in that area, to talk to Coach Collen, to start building that relationship. And that is the one thing about it. During this whole time, she's had the relationship with Coach Mulkey. She's had the relationship with Coach Brock and Coach Messer and everyone else on the staff, and some of those people will be gone. So even though she is a legacy of Baylor, her mother is an A&M, graduate. So you have her getting contacted by all the different schools, when it happens, right? She's going to be recruited by everyone, and she's a top 5 player in the country. She's going to have a ton of suitors. So she, over time, you just got to build a relationship and hope that you can reland her. I think that that's still a possibility, but at this time, we don't know until she starts building that relationship.
I can't even imagine if, in fact, people could talk to her phone, once she mentioned that she had committed to Baylor and also with Coach Mulkey, even though there's a chance she could still end up at Baylor. Imagine how, and that was before the dead period, right? I can't even imagine who contacted her.
Every coach in the country. Everybody that's, I know there's some schools, I've talked to her family, and there's some schools she does not want to attend. I'm not going to name those or anything like that. I'm not going to share that personal information. But, I mean, you're talking 40-plus schools have already tried to contact her after she decommitted. It's not something, irregular for a player of that caliber just to be recruited by everyone. Mm-hmm. And so she's now having to, build those relationships, see which one she finds, and go from there.
Brian, in the end, they have a roster that's stacked, and of course, with it looks good with Jordan Lewis. She's remained. She's coming to Baylor. There's another transfer that at any moment, depending on, I guess, just the transition may have held it up in the system. She would bring something to the table, plus what they have. And Miriam Dowdy even had told me that she wants to kind of take a deep breath here a little bit. And although she is signed with Baylor, in the end, do they have a roster? If Hannah Gusters is the only one that leaves, isn't this roster good enough to go right back to where they have been the last couple of years, the last 2 or 3 seasons? Because, of course, 2 years ago the season got canceled.
So with Jordan Lewis coming in and running point, it'd be very disappointing to not hit an Elite Eight or Final Four with this team. There is the talent to do that. If Dowda comes in, that's going to be who helps back up Egbo, who gets in foul trouble at times. But the athleticism on this team is Final Four capable.
I agree. I agree with you as well. And who knows? I wonder if there's the possibility, although the roster spots have to be a part of what you're looking at as well, if there's the possibility that they could even add somebody else now that she's here that maybe in the mix decides they want to play for her at Baylor. But, of course, that timeline and that's going up against the clock. I know your ear's against the ground. Thanks for your time. In the end, you follow a lot of what happens when it comes to high school and AAU basketball. In the end, how would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, the hiring of Nicki Collen registers with that particular group?
I think you're about 8.5 right now. I mean, this is it's a solid double to triple, depending on who you talk to. There are some people who are not happy it wasn't someone from the college game. There are people who love the fact it's from the WNBA game. So you have that differentiation. The one thing that will come down to is recruiting. Can she recruit? Can she hire assistants who recruit? And if they bring those recruits on campus, I don't have any doubt of her X's and O's ability. Watching tape on her, watching her, the highlights. I mean, we've gone through YouTube and just pull her offense up, pull her defense up. It's good. She's going to be fine on the X's and O's. It's going to be, who do we bring in, on the bench to play? And that's, so your Jimmys and Joes. She's got the X's and O's. So let's see what happens.
Would be a heck of a deal if she could keep Sammy Wagner from Reagan High School if she does remain or comes back if they have a pretty good year. I mean, a really good year, and who knows even before that. And then also what she does with the coaching staff, whether Bill Brock or Satia Messer. But there's a lot of people in the mix for that as well, plus who she brings that she wants as a part of it as well. Thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Paul.
Brian Ethridge, Sikkim365.com, one of the partners of this site, and one of the guys who had the dream of Sikkim 365 Radio. When we come back, Jacqueline Griffin, Robert Griffin III, Mother's Day weekend. Their thoughts next on Sikkim 365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How does he do that? Well, one, you have to contact him. Go online, PettyClinicLowT.com. In the left-hand corner, there's a phone number. You could sit there and just call him. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you heard. Tell them you heard it from me. That's fine. And then what will happen is you can maybe tell them, I just don't feel right. Maybe there's your focus, energy. You're not sleeping well, sex drive, whatever, ED, all of the above, or at least something. 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone. It's okay to admit it if you do. And so what he can do is get you blood work, get that appointment set up, check your blood work, check your testosterone levels. They also look for cholesterol and prostate, your PSA level, all that. But check your testosterone level, and if it's too low, they can put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com, it's as simple as that. PettyClinicLowT.com, every single day their phone rings with somebody going, hey, I heard about. Every day at PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can